The hotel lobby looked like a magazine cover. Spotless white sofas, shining floors, expensive flower arrangements, and a full glass wall facing the sea. In the middle of this movie set walked an old man, very overweight, his face deformed by an old accident, a prosthetic leg dragging slightly on the floor. His dress shirt was wrinkled, his shorts loose, simple flip-flops on his feet. Behind the front desk, the young receptionist didn't need long to decide. Low-category guest. What nobody there imagined was that this ugly old man at reception was the one who'd laid the first brick of that hotel. His name was Severino. Born poor, he spent years as a construction helper, carrying bags of cement until his knees couldn't take it anymore. The accident that deformed his face and took part of his leg came from a fall off a poorly built scaffold. While many wrote him off as finished, he kept something nobody else had: experience and a burning desire to understand the whole business, not just the heaviest task. He became a foreman, then a small entrepreneur, started with a tiny roadside inn, reinvested, failed, got back up until he became the owner of a chain of seaside hotels. A discreet billionaire, he still loved one thing most: walking into his own places, as if he were just another guest. That day, Severino decided to do what he liked best: show up unannounced. No suit, no entourage, no luxury car. Just his old suitcase and the body the world had learned to stare at with disgust. As he passed through the revolving door, he felt the cold air conditioning hit the scars on his face. At the front desk, a young man in a fitted suit lifted his eyes from the computer and measured his silhouette in a second. "Good afternoon, sir. How can I help you?" he asked with a rehearsed smile. "I'd like a room for a few days, if you have one," Severino answered, in his usual soft voice. The receptionist shot a quick look at his coworker, the kind of glance that says more than any sentence. Technically, there were suites with ocean views, high floors, balconies. He didn't even consider them. "We do have a room available." He typed something. "I'll put you in one of our simpler units at the back. It's near the service area, but comfortable." At the back. Words Severino had heard all his life. When he asked to see other options, the kid sighed, already annoyed. "Sir, those other rooms are usually reserved for a different profile of guest. People here for events, executives, people who receive visitors." Severino just adjusted his backpack on his shoulder, as if he hadn't understood. When it was time to fill out the form, he handed over his ID. The receptionist couldn't resist. "Hey, come look at this picture," he called another employee, low but not low enough. "Check this out. Looks like a mugshot." The coworker laughed, covering her mouth with her hand. "And look at the last name. He's probably one of those bargain hunters online who complains about everything after." They gave him the worst room, in the oldest hallway, with a view of the parking lot, like they were doing him a favor. Limping slowly down the corridor, Severino noticed 2, 3 heads turning to stare, some with pity, others with disgust, almost all with judgment. He set the suitcase down, sat on the simple bed, ran his hand along the wall where he once remembered seeing bare brick, concrete and sweat. And he thought with a half-smile, good to know this is how they treat someone they think is nobody. The next morning, the mood in the hotel was very different. The same lobby that had treated Severino like an inconvenience was now buzzing with fresh flower arrangements, an upgraded coffee tray, and the manager inspecting everything up close. A black car pulled up outside, bringing a team of hotel management consultants. At least that's what the staff had been told. "Today is evaluation day, so double attention," the manager warned, in the tone of someone who'd been rehearsing his speech for days. Severino had breakfast in the main room, almost invisible among the other guests. From a distance, he heard the manager explaining, "The founder of the chain sent a team to check standards, processes, service. We need to show our best face." He swallowed a chuckle. He knew exactly who had sent that team, and he knew something else. No paper evaluation would ever weigh more than what he'd seen at reception the day before. In the afternoon, everyone headed to the conference room. Managers, supervisors, department heads. The consultants prepared the projector, opened spreadsheets, showed graphs. The manager adjusted his tie for the 5th time. "As soon as he arrives, we'll officially start," one of the consultants said. A few seconds later, the door opened. The young receptionist expected to see a tall man in an expensive suit, maybe a face he'd seen in a business magazine. What walked in instead was the same old heavy man with the marked face, prosthetic leg, and simple shirt he'd shoved into the worst room the day before. Severino walked to the head of the table without hurry. Instead of quietly taking a chair at the side, he pulled out the main one. The consultants stood up immediately. "Mr. Severino, welcome," one of them said, with genuine respect. "We can start whenever you're ready." All eyes traveled from the screen with the hotel logo to the ugly face now sitting at the head of the table. The receptionist felt his stomach drop. Severino rested his elbows on the table, laced his deformed hands together, and slowly looked at each person. He wasn't in a rush. People who've spent their lives being rushed by others learn to savor silence. "My name is Severino. Some of you only know me as that weird guest at reception. Some of you not even that. But there's something you might not have understood yet. I didn't come here as a customer. I came as the man who built this place brick by brick." He paused. The manager swallowed hard. The receptionist, now in the back row, looked like he wanted to vanish into his chair. "Yesterday I arrived here without warning, like I often do. No suit, no company car, no one to say, 'This one is important, treat him well.' I wanted to see how you treat the people you think don't matter." He pulled a copy of the registration form from his folder. "I was put in the worst room. I was offered whatever was left, as if I should be grateful. You made jokes about my ID photo. You called another employee over to look at this guy's face. No one dared take a deep breath in that room. I've been a laborer. I've scrubbed dry cement from my nails with a toothbrush. I've slept in shacks while rich people popped champagne in the apartments I helped build. I promised myself that if I ever owned a hotel, no one would go through what I went through." Severino pointed toward the longest-serving employees. "I asked to hear from those who've been here the longest, and I heard a lot about good people being swallowed by lack of respect. I also heard about some new faces who think guests are measured by their clothes, their faces, their ID photo." He straightened his heavy body in the chair. "From today on, one thing changes. Anyone who doesn't know how to treat well the people who look small does not deserve to work in a place I built from nothing. If you wear a pretty uniform just to look down on others, I'd rather see that chair empty." A few weeks later, the hotel was still beautiful on the outside. Ocean, glass, infinity pool. But inside, more had changed than just the breakfast menu. Procedures were updated, training on service was done, and the staff who had always shown real respect finally had a voice. Severino still showed up at reception sometimes, with the same face that once became a joke. The difference now was that when he arrived, it wasn't just the system that recognized his name. It was the people, greeting him with a "Good morning, Mr. Severino," that came from the heart, and from the fear of repeating the same mistake. Severino spent his life hearing he was too ugly, too crooked, too simple to be taken seriously. He learned early that, for many, a person's worth is measured by the cut of their suit, the alignment of their teeth, the nice photo on their ID. He had none of that. He had scars, a prosthetic leg, a face that would never make it into a hotel ad. And still, he was the one who built the corridors where suits now stroll around, looking down on him without knowing where their salaries truly come from. While some staff debated the right profile of a guest, he remembered a time when the only profile that mattered was this. Either you worked until your body screamed, or you went hungry. That's why, when he heard his face turn into a joke at his own front desk, he didn't feel surprised. He felt confirmation. This was exactly why he still made surprise visits. Maybe you've also been treated as the wrong kind of client, a body that doesn't fit the place, someone who ruins the picture. And maybe someone has already decided what you deserve just by taking one look at you. If Severino's story stirred something inside you, write in the comments, "I am not just the ugly face in the lobby." Subscribe to Unstoppable Underrated. Share this video with someone who keeps walking into places where they treat shoes better than people. And remember, there are many hotels, companies, and fancy stores that only exist because someone who looked like nothing raised the first wall and is still treated as if they were just a mistake in the background.